Hey everybody, thanks for joining the Rock and Metal Guardian today. Hope you're doing well wherever you may find yourselves. I'm Dane, your host. Today's episode is Confessions Part 3, Bands I Barely Listen to Anymore, or Bands I Rarely Listen to Anymore. And while I have them numbered, there is no real order here, just numbered for convenience. So, number 1 is Pearl Jam, and the only album I can truly say I really like is their debut. I like a couple songs on Versus, I like one or two songs on Vitology, and I like one or two songs on Yield, and that's pretty much it. I've poured through their catalog, their discography a long time ago, tried so hard to like much of what's there, and I just don't enjoy that Americana stuff that they kind of wandered into because of their love of Neil Young. I if I want to listen to that style of music, I'm going to listen to Neil Young. So anyway, so Pearl Jam coming in first, and as far as that debut album goes, it's wonderful. But again, I have not listened to it in quite some time. Whenever I feel the need, I will. But I hope it's not one of those bands that becomes like my previous video, bands I don't listen to anymore. Anyway, next is Soundgarden. And I cannot remember the last time I felt compelled to listen to Louder Than Love. I remember the last time I did listen to it, I was like, boy, I used to love this album. What happened? I can't remember the last time I listened to Bad Motorfinger, but I can tell you that I frequently will listen to the Screaming Life /FOP EP. I think that's fabulous. That's my favorite. There's a song on there, I can't remember which one it is, where Chris Cornell sounds like Rob Halford in Screaming for Vengeance on that song, and wow, like I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, wow, wish he'd sing more like that. Anyway, so that's my favorite Soundgarden album, the Screaming Life /FOP EP. Next is Cheap Trick. This is one of those bands I loved as a kid, but what it boils down to really for me is this is a band where I only really, for the most part, like the hits with an exception or two. And I don't like anything past their 7th or 8th album, and I've tried to like their new stuff. It's just not working for me. And the next band, whatever iteration you want to call them, Jefferson Airplane, Jefferson Starship, or Starship, don't listen to them much at all. Occasionally I find myself listening to the song Jane, and that's pretty much it. Maybe a couple other songs, but that's my go-to song, Jane, which is the only album that doesn't have Freedom at Point Zero. Has the kid with the plane that futuristic plane that he's tossing into the air on the beach, right, on the boardwalk, and like I said, it's the only album that Grace Slick doesn't sing on or appears on. Anyway, the next is kind of a childhood thing. Well, it was a childhood thing, honestly. Hall & Oates. Occasionally, I'll feel compelled to listen to Sarah or Sarah Smile and maybe another song, but that's pretty much it. Green River, another grunge band. Haven't listened to them in quite some time. Once in a while, I'll put on, for this next band, the MP3 songs that I have in from various albums. Specifically, the one that comes to mind, songs I listen to the most would be To Hell with the Devil. So I'm talking about Stryper, not a band that I listen to much anymore. King's X, I love those first 3 albums, but that's pretty much it. Crocus, I like Screaming in the Night and Eat the Rich, and that's pretty much it. Used to like much more of their stuff, but again, not compelled. Next is Nazareth. I like Love Hurts and a few songs. I take that back. I love, most of No Mean City and Expect No Mercy. That's my favorite, Expect No Mercy, and I like half of Hair of the Dog. So I do listen to Nazareth, but not much of their not much more than that. Most of their catalog I've, for whatever reason, don't feel compelled to listen to. Next is Twisted Sister, and again, something I may be outgrowing. Next is Fastway. I used to love that debut album, and after that, that's nothing else I cared about, but I used to love that first debut, and I never listened to this almost anymore. So the next, this one pains me a lot, is perhaps the one that pains me the most is Stevie Ray Vaughan. The next is Traffic. I have a copy of John Barleycorn Must Die, and I remember that being one of my favorite Traffic albums of all time, if not probably top 200 albums of all time, and now it would make that list. But anyway, so the next one pains me as well. I barely listen to Caius anymore for whatever reason. This next one pains me as well, and that is the band Testament. This next one used to pain me, but not so much, and that is the band Venom. I like the first 3 albums, but I've not been reaching for them in a very long time. This next band, I love their first 2 albums, and then after that, there's not much I like. I like their live album, which is called Replugged Live, talking about Tesla. Those 3 albums are great, Replugged Live and the first 2 albums, but I occasionally listen to them, but that's pretty much it. Fate's Warning. They've dropped off the radar for me a long time ago. I still have No Exit and A Night on Brocken and the 2 that come after that, and that's it. But I'm not reaching for them. Halloween. I like the new album. We have all 3 singers come in and guest on it. I like that one, but I haven't played that since it first came out. I listened to like 2 or 3 times, and I really liked it, but for some reason I have to pull that out again and give that another listen. As far as their earlier stuff goes, the Keeper of the 7 Keys 1 and 2, I listened to those not that long ago, and I just not feeling it anymore. Again, many of these may become bands I don't listen to anymore that I've outgrown, like the previous video that I did. This next one is Vanilla Fudge, and that's all I'll say. Iron Butterfly. Once in a while, I'll put on Inagata Devita and listen to the whole album, but it's been a while. The next is MC5. The next is the Velvet Underground. The next is Nick Cave. This next band is a Christian death metal band. Sort of. They have that growly Cookie Monster thing going, and the band is Under Oath. For some reason, this was one of the rare death metal bands I liked, and now I listen to them and I don't like them. So anyway, the next band is the Melvins. I still like Lysol a lot, but that's pretty much it. There's another one, and I can't remember the name of it, that once in a while I listen to. I have it in MP3. That's why I can't remember, because if I had the CD rather, I would know that better. But anyway, it's something friends gave me a long time ago. This one kind of pains me to talk about. It's Stone Temple Pilots. I saw them live with the new singer a few years back, and I was impressed. But I never was compelled to buy the 2 studio albums that he appears on anyway. The next one is Toad the Wet Sprocket. The only album I still listen by them is Dulcinea, which I think is fabulous, with the exception of 1 song. Number 31 is Candlebox. I love that debut, but that's pretty much it. I occasionally listen to that. This next one really pains me. This is a band I love to death. Their last 2 albums I cannot stand. But for whatever reason, they've fallen off my radar, and I'm talking about Slipknot, the only new metal band I really like. Moving on is the band Rat. I love their first album. I love their first EP. Get the girl's legs with the fishnet stockings and the rats crawling on her legs. That's pretty cool too, right? Those first 2, the EP and the debut, are fabulous. After that, I was like, what on earth is this? Anyway, too commercial. Once in a while, I will listen to Surfing with the Alien and a couple other songs, but as far as Joe Satriani goes, not much going there. Next is Ted Nugent. I like the live album. For a while, I got off that live album, and I was like, I don't like this as much, and then it's kind of, I've been feeling that again. That happens, right? So I listened to Ted Nugent's first 3 albums. I think those are the only ones that really stand out for me, and then the live album, and that's pretty much it. The heavy metal band, The Sword. Next is Depeche Mode. Tony McAlpine, I loved in high school. Now I listen to it, and not really. Eagles, Hotel California. I love that album, but I'm not reaching for it as much. Journey, painful to say, although the ones that I do reach for the most is that debut and the 2 after that the jazz fusion-y stuff, right? As far as the Steve Perry era, great voice, great band. I like Escape, and I like the one that comes after that, and some of the stuff in between. But as far as the Steve Perry goes, most of the stuff I like from him are the hits, but there's some deep cuts that I like too, but I haven't been reaching for them very much. Stars, I used to love that Violation album and a couple other songs from the other 3 albums, although Attention Shoppers is pretty weak, but I used to love that Violation album, and now I listen to it and I'm like, it's okay. Supertramp. Not a band that I was always intrigued with. There's some songs I really like. I remember there's 2 or 3 songs from Breakfast in America in the movie Magnolia, and that made me get back into Super Tramp. And I do love Breakfast in America and parts of Crime of the Century, parts of Crisis, What Crisis, parts of the one with the rope and the scissors are cutting it. Can't remember the name of that. And even in the quietest moments, those are the ones that stand out for me. I don't like the debut at all, but I haven't been reaching for them much lately. Man o' War, Merciful Fate, The Doors, Tori Amos, Robin Trower, 10 Years After, and finally the band Black Flag, one of the few punk bands that I like. The only one that I still reach for is My War. And speaking of that, the title track, My War, makes me think of, this occurred to me recently. I listened to parts of that album, and especially the song, and I'm like, this is like Pantera before Pantera in a way. It's like a proto-Pantera. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have a blessed holiday again. Take care now. Bye.